Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone. We are here at Five Boroughs Park here in New York City. On this great 4th of July, I'm happy to be here with you guys on the broadcast. I have the privilege of being on this broadcast. I'm Yales, and in the booth with me, I have the one and the only Siege. Siege, what's going on, man?
Just here enjoying my 4th. Nowhere I'd rather be than here in New York City watching this great matchup. As we all know, Gotham is on a 8-game win streak, absolutely catching their stride. Had those struggles early in the season, but have really caught fire recently. Everyone's playing their game looking good. Run DMV on a 2-game lose streak, but they have looked good in the past month. Other than that, Nick Hugo has really had his coming out party recently. He's starting to look like one of the top 30, top 25 players in SimWorld impact-wise. So this should be a really, really great matchup to watch, and no better day to watch it than today.
Absolutely. Barbecue, fireworks, drinks, pretty ladies. And look, we're doing it right here in NYC. Look, man, what are you looking for in this matchup? There's a couple of matchups to look forward to. We got Majer, Trey Trust. We got Nick Hugo, but
yes,
I'm not going to steal the thunder there. What are you looking forward to see? Oh, goodness, Williams with the throwdown on Nick Hugo.
He is powerful. Well, Yells, I'll give you Siege's 3 in order. I'll give you at number 3 that captain's matchup between Majer and Trey Trust. Who's going to be able to kind of control the game for their team, control the pace of the game. Ooh,
big 3
and
Trey right there.
Coming out strong, right on cue, right on cue. Number 2 for me, I think this is one that's going to be a little overlooked because if you look at the players individually, you think it's not really that great of a matchup. But I got Mackenzie Mbako, 6'9" wing, facing.
Are you queuing everybody up here, Siege? What's going on?
Great. But I got Mackenzie Mbako, 6'9" wing, going up against a little lesser known, but I think he's very talented. And once he gets it together, he's going to be a problem. John Hudgens, a 6'10" wing on the other side. If he can kind of contain Mbako, which he didn't on that play, but that's going to be a big thing for them. That's a great matchup between 2 very long, very lanky wings. And in number 1, I think this game is going to be won or lost in the paint. You've got the oversized, always dominant Mugen Williams and Aaron Lovejoy, both standing at 6'11", facing off against the undersized but dogs in Malik Duffin at 6'9", and then the always talked about Nick Hugo holding the record for single game blocks with 11 at center. I think that is where this game is won or lost. Can Run DMV match up with that oversized front court that Gotham has? Because if they can do that, that's really what they're going to need to do to get this win.
My God. Brandon Smith to Nick Hugo there, that freak athleticism you're talking about and that motor that he has. He also had that, following up that record-breaking game, he had a 17-rebound event there, and he's really starting to come into his own. But I absolutely agree with you, Siege. The matchup all season for Gotham 5 is their size overcome whatever size any other team has. And then Run DMV has struggled at times to keep up with the size of other teams, but they definitely get it done on the workhorse side of things. So a matchup to watch, I totally agree.
Absolutely, and so far in this game, I believe Nick Hugo's already got 2 buckets. One was a tough drive to the paint on his own, and then that nice alley-oop slam. If he can kind of contribute a little more on offense, that's not his game. He makes an impact everywhere else on the court. But if he can also put in, some good buckets, kind of get them that points. That's where Run DMV tends to struggle when they lose, is finding offense. And there it is right there. They're forgetting to cover him. Nick Hugo is finding his way to the rim. Kind of just the way he scores, he finds the spot, gets the ball, puts it up. And that's what you want from a big who doesn't necessarily have a very deep bag, is kind of just get to your spot, get the ball, go up with it. Don't waste any time.
Absolutely, he is so excellent without the ball. I mean, his game, he doesn't need the ball, doesn't need plays called for him. He just is out there running and getting it done. And another player I like to make sure I shout out and highlight for a moment here on this Run DMV squad is Brandon Smith. He's the lone returning player from last season. Doesn't get a whole lot of credit. He doesn't get talked about a whole lot. But this kid, clutch bucket after clutch bucket. So here's Nick Hugo.
Get out of here.
Sheesh. But yeah, Brandon Smith. Clutch buckets, timely passing, excellent defender. He is so much for this team. Just looking at his stats here, nothing that jumps off the page. 9 points a game, 3 assists, 43% from the field, 35 threes made. But he does so much of everything, and I think that's why you have schools like Maryland, Rhode Island, DC looking at him, even though his numbers don't jump off the page. 6'4", 205 out of DC. I think this kid is going to have a bright future, another one of those workhorse players on this DMV team.
Absolutely. What Brandon Smith is to me, he falls into a similar category as a Gabe Pope. He's kind of that point guard who they're mature, they can lead the team, they can run an offense, pace the game, make big shots when they need to. He's not a superstar, and that's no slight to him, but what he is he plays his role so well. He's not the captain of this team, but almost in the way he runs the team, he is just as important as Trey Truss to captaining this team. He's, like you said, there are schools looking at him, and when you're a player like that who plays your role, is smart, does all those things well, there's always going to be a place for you.
Yeah. Nick Hugo looking awfully aggressive in this one. On the Gotham side, Mackenzie Mbako, there's been so much said about him so far this season, but the kid is, his skill does not go anywhere, regardless of what those numbers are, as Aaron Lovejoy there on the dunk. But regardless of how lofty those numbers are not, he's 6'9", 210, 13 points, can shoot from the perimeter, leads his team in three-point shooting, and he looks awfully aggressive to start this game. You don't want to see him get going here for a team that's already they're gonna outwork you, or they're gonna make you force you to outwork them on the boards. Great follow by Lovejoy.
Those are second chance points, and that's something that when one of those lost 2 games ago, Run DMV had a big problem with, was keeping a team off the offensive glass. They have to put bodies on people. They have to make sure that they don't give up second chance points, especially going up against Mugen Williams and Aaron Lovejoy, because that's what they do. They're hard rebounders. They will go after that ball. You have to put a body on them. They have to give help to Nick Hugo and Malik Duffin, because Nick Hugo and Malik Duffin's job is to put a body on those two. Everyone else's job is to crash the board and go get the ball. So that's something they're going to have to pay attention to tonight.
And you notice one of the things I see here, it looks like DMV's putting some pressure on the perimeter players, full court pressure on these guys, and I think that's a really good strategy, to be honest. Good take. What a finish there from Mugen Williams. So skilled. Gotham 5 just has so many skilled players, Siege, and it's, because they spread the wealth and no one's really putting up more than 14 points a game, I think at times it gets lost just how skilled some of these players are individually. But look, we're going to take a break. You can give me your thoughts on that when we return. We'll be back in just one moment. Stay with us. here in New York City, Five Boroughs Park. Got a good one on our hands already. Gotham leading the way, 17-12 on the back of some great defense by Hakeem Matthews, but on the back of Mackenzie Mbako leading the way with 7 early aggressive points. What do you think Run DMV is going to need to do to make sure that this doesn't get out of hand?
Well, I caught Coach Murray in the hallways a little bit before the game, and I was just asking him, what the locker room's been like in the past couple of days. What's the emphasis supposed to be on? He said he's really been putting a point on making sure that the rest of the team turns up their defensive intensity and doesn't kind of get content with letting Nick Hugo be that defensive anchor. Because, yes, Nick Hugo is a great defensive anchor, but if you rely on him too much, you're going to tire him out. And the rest of the team, he said that his main point, the rest of the team has to turn up the defensive intensity. It's got to be a full team effort, specifically with putting on the pressure on the perimeter, creating turnovers, getting your hand in there, just poking the ball out, things like that. He wants the entire team without what Nick Hugo does on defense, the effort. And there's some more of that effort on the offensive end. He's leading them in scoring right now, which is not something you see too often.
I'm going to tell you, he's getting after it offensively. He's definitely bringing the energy on that side. Well, if you were a teammate of Nick Hugo, 6'7", 230 pounds out of Richmond, VA, he's got that big personality, obviously exciting game. How could you not get amped up defensively, offensively, whatever it is? I mean, if he's ordering a burger at the drive-thru, let me ask you, is there any chance that you're not as hyped as Nick Hugo is?
No, absolutely not. I mean, playing with a guy like that who constantly keeps his energy up and just wants to go, it makes you want to be a better player. It makes you want to play harder. It makes you want to match that. You don't want to let him do it on his own. You want to kind of be there with him, do all those things, and that's why he is such a great player to have for a coach. He's a coach's dream. Plays hard, fires up his teammates. I mean, he is, I want to call him a glue guy because he's a glue guy, but he's more than that. He's a glue guy and an intensity guy all wrapped up into one. He's just an incredible asset to have on your team.
4-point game here as we are wrapping up the end of the first quarter. We've got 3 more to go out in New York. It's a DMV battle up against NYC. We know how that goes. Stay with us. We've got more basketball to come on this 4th of July. Keep it locked. Welcome back here, Five Boroughs Park. Second quarter is about to get underway. Just want to remind you guys are tuned in now. Why not tune in all the time? Make sure you're checking us out on SimWorld TV, YouTube, // whichever slash it is, SimWorld TV. Hit that subscribe button, that like button, and most importantly, that notify button so that you know when games are going down, going off, and when it's popping. Siege. Try to do some math here, and I almost screwed that up. 24 minutes. 24 minutes left in this game. Run DMV is fighting, and they're fighting hard against Gotham here. Gotham is actually playing some of their better basketball of the season as far as spreading the ball around them, and Run DMV is right there. Do you think DMV has a shot in this one? And that's not to be, not to be.
I absolutely do, Yells. I think, look, what we have seen is, and it's something that, like I said,
wow.
There he is, John Hudgens. I want to see more from him.
I am partial to him. I'm partial to him, Siege.
I mean, anytime you see a 6'10" forward three guard kind of guy. You want to see him be really good. He's got the tools to be really good. He just kind of has to get it together. But to answer your question, I think they absolutely do have a shot. In terms of what Coach Murray talked about wanting them to do, turning up the defensive intensity. I mean, Gotham 5 is playing a really good game, but what I have seen them do well is on the perimeter, they've turned up that intensity. They've got a few steals. They're doing a really good job of creating turnovers. The one thing they need to improve on to really have a chance today is they got to do better on the inside defensively. And on the boards, they have to nullify those second chance points, because without the couple second chance points buckets Gotham has right now, Run DMV's in the lead. So that's the one thing I think right now that they need to be doing better. Other than that, they're playing a really good game so far, and they're matching up with a team that's the hottest in SimWorld right now in Gotham 5.
8 straight wins. Cayenne Anthony's been pretty hot himself. I think he had 19 points off the bench in the last game. In case anyone's forgotten who Melo's son is. Great block there by Hakeem Matthews. Yeah, and I just want to add to what you were saying there, Steve. Right now, there's no Nick Hugo on the court. He put up 9 shot attempts in the first quarter alone. I think you had mentioned during the break, we've seen games where he hasn't gotten that many shot attempts in 2 full games. Where does DMV go for offense right now?
There he is. He's on the court.
Oh, there he is. Look, he made the pass. Nick Hugo.
He's out there.
Scratch everything I just said. I've been drinking early, guys. Just
Speaking of Melo's kid, I heard Melo was unable to play this game. He's on a banana boat somewhere for the 4th, so was unable to be in attendance for this one. But Cayenne Anthony will still, I'm sure, show out to the best of his ability.
You think Melo and the crew are spending any time with where's Chris Paul again?
At this place, he's in Golden State now. He's in Golden State.
So again,
he might be on the Bay.
I'm just asking. You think Melo is enjoying time in the Bay Area? He just doesn't seem like a Bay Area kind of guy.
I don't know. I mean, Chris Paul's the only one still in the league, so they might kind of tailor their schedule to where he's at. But Melo does not seem like a Bay kind of guy to me either.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. Well, look, basketball is going, SimWorld Hoops basketball, is going to return on Wednesday, tomorrow that is, 8 a.m. ESPN 2, Middle East, SimWorld Middle East, hosting SimWorld Africa, and then SimWorld TV is back later on in the night, where we have Run DMV. Man, back to back. No 4th of July celebration for them. All struggle.
Nope.
Run DMV back-to-back, taking on Beasts of the East, and then that game will be followed by the North, going down to Nowlands to play Gulf Coast Lockdown. So some pretty good matchups tomorrow. Make sure that you're there for those.
I'm excited about that. I've talked about Nick Hugo as one of my favorite players in the league to watch, and Alex Rodriguez is up there. Not in the top 5 of my favorite players to watch, but I really like Alex Rodriguez's game. I think once the North maybe next year kind of gets a little bit more set, finds a little more success, we're going to be talking about Alex Rodriguez a lot. I think there it is. There's that perimeter intensity we talked about. Get the steal, run out with it. That's going to tie the game.
Hey, Run DMV has some hardcore defenders on the perimeter. Keith Singleton is an absolute dogged defender in the press out there. Brandon Smith is an excellent defender. We all know about Nick Hugo. And I do think some things can be unlocked with John Hudgens. I heard a comp thrown out there that some people laughed at and some people made the face. He could be a 2023 version if unlocked, and he works in this potential ceiling. But he's a Scottie Pippen type of player, and I would love to see that.
He's got the frame for it. He's got the frame. You just kind of got to figure out and kind of get it all together is the only way to really put it. He's young. He's got a lot of time, but he's got the frame for it. What I do really like about him in the defensive side of things is that because he plays the 3, I mean, he's bigger than both of their starting front court in Malik Duffin and Nick Hugo. They can run a lot of switches with him. So that is an asset that I think is yet to be unlocked. And there he is, squatting the ball. He's so long. He's so big for playing the 3. That is something I would love to see them kind of unlock more. They could switch everything in the front court.
Yeah, absolutely. He's gonna be something at the next level, and haven't really heard about any college offers. Excuse me for Hudgens just yet, but they're coming. A good block by Keon.
And And that's the thing, though. Hudgens and Hugo are both guys who, I don't know how you feel about this, but to me, they're both guys who can guard the 1 through 5, and
Brandon
that's
Smith.
it. Brandon Smith, another guy who can play some hard defense.
I mean, Coach Murray asked for some defense in this one. He is definitely seeing, I think one of the things to watch for is if they'll be able to maintain this kind of defensive intensity throughout the course of an entire game, because they are really getting hefty right now.
Yeah, that is yet to be seen, but I mean, with a guy like Nick Hugo who has what seems like an endless motor, you would hope that the rest of the team can follow along.
And they are doing this right now with no Nick Hugo on the court. It has been a switch from interior defense to perimeter defense, and John Hudgens holding down the middle. This lineup looking really successful, but what we've seen from Gotham 5 is, like we say, no one's averaging over 14 points a game, yet they have, 36 players that are ranked in the top 100, and rightfully so. At any point, one of these players may just go absolutely bonkers and say, let me put it on my back and hit these tough shots. So I think that's the fear that you have to have with teams like Gotham 5. There's a few other teams out there like that in the way of the Bay Area Breakers. Who am I forgetting here? There's a few other teams, but yeah, Gotham 5 definitely there.
The Yacht Club when they're on is a team like that. They've got a lot of talent on that team. Just haven't been able to put it together the same way that Gotham or Bay Area has, but they're another team like that. You're not really sure who's going to go for 20. But yeah, that's something I've been talking about Gotham all season, even when they were struggling, is they're really hard to game plan for. The only thing you can solidly game plan for them is you want to keep those bigs off the glass and nullify that size advantage that they have over most teams in the league. But other than that, it's so hard to game plan for them because, like you said, you don't know who's going to go for 20 in a game. They got a few guys who could just turn it on and go for 20 any day. And that makes it really hard for an opposing coach to game plan.
Absolutely. Not to mention that width that they have. That's a great contest there from Charles Pinkard, I believe, is a closeout in the lockout. Pinkard in the game, excellent shooter for Run DMV. I think this guy, Clinton, Maryland, 6'2", number 3 on the team in three-pointers made. He's got Pittsburgh looking at him. I think this kid can develop some game here. He's an excellent shooter, so I just wanted to highlight him for a moment.
He's an excellent shooter, and he's a hard worker. He's the 3-and-D version of, I don't know if you remember him for Ohio State, but Aaron Craft. He's the 3-and-D version of Aaron Craft. Aaron Craft was more of a driving kind of guard, didn't shoot the three too much, but he was a hard worker, and he was active in the locker room. He's active with his teammates, kind of a leader in that sense, and Charles Pinkard kind of gives me that vibe. He's willing to take on whatever role it takes, whatever he coach thinks is going to be best for the team. He's a very much so team-oriented player. Ooh.
And he's got that in the bag. We've seen him knock down threes and perimeter shots left and right. 6'9", able to do that and defend the perimeter. That's kind of some unicorn skills there.
Run DMV is just full of these players that are kind of positionless, really. I mean, you look at the height listings and you're like, who plays what on this team? Because John Hudgens, their tallest dude, plays the 3. You got Nick Hugo, 6'7", plays the 5. But all of them can kind of run multiple positions, offensively and defensively, and that's a versatility that's really helpful for this team. When they get hot, it's really hard to game plan for them as well because everyone is so versatile.
What a pass there from Syer Matthews to Majere Williams. Just another one of those kids that can do a lot. He's an absolute dog on defense, but a great playmaker as well, as we saw a beautiful pass. But yes, to your point, Siege, Run DMV, I think it lends itself to coaching and recruiting as well. Ty Rocco with the 3 and the celebration afterwards. But yeah, I think it lends itself to the coaching and recruiting of Coach Murray, as he did not look at these guys as positions. He looked at them as skill sets, and he figured out where to play them. And he is absolutely maximizing the talent in this team.
Absolutely, and that is a tribute to Coach Murray's skill as a coach, because especially at the high school level, you see a lot of times guys being put in a certain place just because of their size. You see guys who have guard skills get put at the big because they're the tallest guy on the team, and sometimes it stunts their development because you spend so much time playing the post, you spend so much time being a big man, those guard skills aren't being used, and so colleges aren't getting to see those guys for what they can actually do. And Coach Murray is a wonderful coach in the sense that he doesn't limit players to what their height is.
Well, Brandon Smith not being limited at all, showing you what he has in the defensive bag, and Charles Pinkett alert as he knocks down a big three as we see Run DMV going into the half with an 8-point lead. I would not call it an absolute shocker, but a bit of a surprise. Siege, what has it been that has led them to this lead heading into halftime?
Well, I think what we've seen is, you mentioned it earlier, Gotham 5, it's been very team-oriented, sharing the ball. A lot of people are getting a lot of stuff done, but nobody's kind of taken over as, like, I'm the guy this game, which we see a lot for Gotham 5, different guys doing that. Their biggest plus in this game has been the size inside, but it kind of went away in the second quarter. We didn't see them dominating the paint as much, and that's what allowed Run DMV to go on this run. On the other side, Run DMV, I don't have anything negative to say about what they're doing. First quarter, they were letting them control the paint. They were letting Gotham 5 control the paint. They fixed that in the second quarter. They're playing hard. They're doing what Coach Murray wanted, creating turnovers on the perimeter, playing hard on defense, all of those things. And they're hitting shots, which they've been in a shooting slump recently. So they're doing that, 45% from the field as you see there. They're not too far behind in the rebound battle. I love what Run DMV is doing today.
We'll be back for the second half in just a moment. We're back in New York City, 4th of July, with more action from SimWorld TV. Second half in the books, first half in the books. Run DMV with an 8-point lead on Gotham 5, able to hold them to just 24% shooting in the second quarter. Siege. Run DMV, Coach Murray has to be happy because he's definitely getting the run out of this team, and they are putting the D in DMV. What does Gotham 5 need to do to get back in this one?
Gotham 5's got to keep playing their game. They need to kind of collect themselves on offense. They need exactly that helps defensive intensity from Gotham 5 in the sense that if they can get those blocks, get those turnovers, and run with the ball, you're going to make it a little harder for DMV to have that defensive intensity because they're not going to get to set up their defense. So what I want to see them do, play through a guy like Mbako, my first instinct might be to play through the bigs because they do have that size advantage, but DMV's doing Duffin. But
you know the Duffin man?
You know the Duffin man. He lives on Drury Lane. But I want to see Mugen Williams and Aaron Lovejoy down there getting offensive boards. So I want to play through a guy like Mbako, get him coming off screens, get him shooting the ball, and get those chances, those second chance points. Because in the first, when they were kind of controlling the paint, they were winning. In the second quarter, like you said, they held them to 24% from the field, and they weren't allowing offensive rebounds. So if they can get back to that, if Mugen Williams and Aaron Lovejoy can get back to dominating the paint, that's what they need to do to make this comeback.
Yeah. Before, I know we always harken back to this in a moment in time. We just haven't moved. What a block and effort by John Hudgens was beat off that pin down screen, recovered for the block, and that's what 6'10" will get you. But, yeah, earlier this season, Coach Ballard was coaching this Gotham team before he headed down south to the lovely beaches in Central Latin America. But he ran his game a lot through the post, and I know the results were not what everyone was looking for from this team at that time. But these are the moments where you would like to see, hey, let's drop it down low, let's slow the game down. We have the assets to get it done. And I will say, somehow I'm finding the negative in an 8-game win streak. But through this win streak, we have not seen them play that way, and it looks like that may be what's needed right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I could agree. I think the thing is, Mugen Williams and Aaron Lovejoy are both phenomenal players. They are not, let's see, for an example, they are not a Lorenzo Phenom or a Tyson Simpson type or even an Arthur Lattimore where their best asset is their post offense, if that makes sense. Their best asset is their defense, their rebounding, they're getting in position, they're big, they're strong, but they don't have as deep of an offensive bag. You don't look at their play style and say, this is a guy we're going to give it to in the post and let him go to work necessarily. They can do that. Aaron Lovejoy, I think a little bit more than Mugen, has that skill set in the post, but that's not their main game. So that, I think, is why we don't see them play through the post quite as much anymore. But at times, that might just be what they need.
Yeah, definitely looks like they're going to want to slow this down here. And they've been in that mind frame here to start the third quarter. Siege, you brought something up. Great segue there. I'm a huge fan of segues as Sire Matthews gets to the bucket to cut it to 6. You mentioned Lorenzo Phenom, Tyson Simpson, Arthur Lattimore. There was a story that came out in our Discord just a little earlier today. Make sure you guys are all tuned into our Discord, discord.gg/SimWorldNBA. That will be changing here soon. But you can stay up on all the news. But 247 Sports dropped an article, top 5 SimWorld Hoops bigs. What do you think about that article? What do you think about what was said there?
Well, just to preface it, we'll go ahead and let the fans know what it said if they haven't seen it. In order from 1 to 5, we had Tyson Simpson, Lorenzo Phenom, Trey Hyman, Arthur Lattimore, and then Levin Cutler. For me, I think that top 5 is correct. I think it could be switched around a little bit. It does leave off guys like Henrik Vekic isn't on that list. But I think that top 5 is the right top 5. I think the number 1 is the right number 1. Tyson Simpson is that guy. My only thing is, I think you could argue Arthur Lattimore his best play is as a big, but at times he's a little bit more of a forward. But I can't go wrong with who the top 5 is. Levin Cutler certainly deserves that 5 spot. I couldn't put him higher than 5 just because of who the other 4 are. But he absolutely deserves that 5 spot. So I love the list. I think did a great job on putting that together. Those are the right guys to have in the top 5, in my opinion. What do you think?
Again, I'm always a potential guy, always lean there. I think that top 5 looks good. I think Levin Cutler, however you pronounce it, apologies if I'm mispronouncing it to the parents there. But yeah, he's a very skilled. When I look at the bigs in SimWorld, there's a few guys I look at their production. There's a few guys that I look at what their actual skill set is, and there's a few guys where I'm looking at how they're utilized, contrasting those two things. Lorenzo Phenom, highly skilled. I just wish that I saw more timely production for him, so I'm not as happy with his output as I am for some other guys. Aaron Lovejoy, Levin Cutler, Tyson Simpson has the output and the skill set. And there's a lot of things he still has to put in his bag. He's clear-cut number one to me. But Aaron Joy, Levin Cutler, Vekic, I still keep him up there because he is such a skilled big man. Just want to see him put it together in the right system, or if he could be utilized differently. So I think I may swap a couple of guys out there, but for the most part, I'm happy with it. The Arthur Lattimore one's tough for me because I see him more as a mellow type, but it's all in how a coach wants to utilize him. I don't know if I call him a big. I see he's 6'9". In today's NBA, I'm sure he'll be playing center in no time if he gets there.
I mean, he can play center, no problem.
I'll tell you one NBA center he's tougher than right now, and that's I almost call him Cat Williams, Karl Anthony Towns.
Everyone's tougher than Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, come on. But the one thing I will say about the list is you look at it and it seems to be a little bit more of an offensive list. There are some defensive superstar bigs that were left off this list, namely a guy like Derek Long, who impact-wise could potentially be a top 10 player, not just big and similar, just for the impact he has. Now his team is on a losing streak, but the impact he brings on defense is, you can't understate it. You can't overstate it either. It is unbelievable. And then a guy like Victorious Ilgauskas. Those are guys who, to me, are absolutely top 10 bigs in Sim World. I think you could make an argument for them being top 5, but I think when it comes to the media, we tend to kind of want to see the flashy things. We want to see the guys who can put up production on the offensive side. So I think that's probably why those guys were left off the list. But those are also guys that you could absolutely make an argument for being top 10 bigs, top 5 bigs in Sim World.
Well, one thing's for sure, there is a lot of talent in Sim World Hoops. We're looking forward to more continuing here in the future. If you guys are looking to join Sim World Hoops, soon to be Sim World Prep. As a player, as a coach, as Maestro likes to say, if you got the game, come be a player. If you got the game, come be a coach. Players' applications are on pause for the next week or so while we work on some back-end items. But come join our world. Come be a part of this one single place where you can see the game and be the game.
I'm really loving Keith Singleton's game today. I'm loving the way he's playing. He's given me flashes of a guy who recently got drafted, maybe a little less known, coming over from the same team as the highly touted Victor Wembanyama, Bilal Coulibaly. He just kind of has that smoothness to his game. He does a lot of things well, plays great defense, as you mentioned earlier, is good at getting to the rim. Just an intense guy, and I like what he's bringing to the game today.
That's a tough bucket there. Ooh, tough bucket to get it to 11. And while we were talking big man, Sim World big man, Gotham 5 had cut this game down to 4, and just like that, Run DMV, which we're not known to see them hit contested, just tough buckets, but they are known to hit timely ones, and they just easily ran this game back up to 9. So it's incredible what we're seeing in the development we've seen from Run DMV here. But before we cut to break, Siege, you guys have heard a lot from us, myself and Siege, about what we think. But I will tell you right now, Sim World Hoops is looking for more commentators. You think you can call a game? Let me retract that. Can you call a game? We don't want anyone that thinks that they can. You're going to have to be able to do it like Nelly. Unless you're going to do it. Commentators, writers want it. We're looking for you guys. Join the Discord. Shoot a message our way. We'll do some interviews. We'll have some conversations. You can be a part of this growing team that we have here. Also, look, I'm getting them all out, Siege. This is my one shot. I'm getting them all out. Follow us on social media, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. Did I say Facebook? Instagram. I guess you can follow us on Facebook too. The games are running there at SimWorld4K. Make sure that you're a part of the conversation there. We're trying to grow our media presence, and we'd love for you to do it with us because we're looking to boost you guys' presence as well. But look, we're going to have to take a quick break here, Siege. We'll be back for the rest of the third in just a moment. Back here, 1:47 left in the third quarter. Run DMV with a 9-point advantage on Gotham 5. Gotham 5 has made some runs back, but Run DMV has thwarted every one of those attempts. As we see Kamarian Brackett missing from deep there. Siege, time looks like it could be running out here. I mean, there's a lot of time left, but I'm not seeing Gotham 5 just hit the gas pedal here just yet.
Yeah, and every time they have, Run DMV's been able to weather the storm and get their lead back up. What I will say, though, positive for Gotham 5 is, like you said, there's plenty of time left in this game, and they are still within striking distance. One of those strikes is just going to have to go a little bit better for them.
One stop at a time. Nick Hugo with the miss there. Aaron Lovejoy with the rebound. Dior Bates with the attack on the basket. Dior Bates, this kid, extremely skilled. Like we talk about all these extremely skilled guys on Gotham 5. 6'5", 205 out of Ogdenburg, New York. Only 4 points a game. He shoots 53%. He's knocked down a few threes. There's not been a whole lot of playing time for him on this squad, but when he's been on the court, you can see the skill. He's getting looks from Rutgers, Iona, Central Michigan, Syracuse, St. John's. Dior Bates, only 16 years old. Look, from Ogdenburg, from Waterbury, Connecticut. My apologies. But nevertheless, he's only 16 years old. Look, I was reading the whole wrong section there. Siege, as I look at my notes here. But the point remains. You have these kids with this kind of skill. He's one of the younger guys on this team, should be around next season. Do you expect to see big things from him? And furthermore, do you expect to see him get maybe even a larger role while Coach tests some things out down the stretch for the rest of the month?
Yeah, I absolutely do, and I think that's something I've talked about a lot with teams like Gotham 5 or the Yacht Club or Bay Area Breakers, teams that have like all of that talent so deep, is that, for example, a guy like Dior Bates, he's not going to get like quite as much playing time, but you know that he's a talented player that if put in a role could give a lot more production than he does. And guys like that, that's the reason that teams like Gotham 5, you're going to see college scouts at most of their games, because they've got guys like Dior Bates is probably the 7th, 8th guy on this roster, but he's a guy who for a college team could be a great producer in the starting 5. So when you have teams like this that are so stacked with talent, it contributes to their winning for sure, but it also, all of these guys are going to get college offers, every single one of them, somewhere. It might not be a big school, it might not be a top 5 conference school, it might be a mid-major, might be a low major, but they're going to get offers because they all can play. And Dior Bates is just one of those guys who, when he gets the chance, is going to show out.
Run DMV is answering the bell every step of the way here. Can't get that half-court heave to go. We've got 8 minutes to go for Gotham 5 before Gotham 5 sees their 8-game winning streak come to an end in a non-impressive fashion on their end. So we're going to have to see them pick it up here. You guys stay tuned. I'm sure we're looking forward to an exciting fourth quarter here on the 4th. Hey, it's almost time to put those 4s up. Stay tuned.
Don't tell me what you won't do. Let me tell you what you can't do. Don't tell me what you won't do. Let me tell you what you can't do. Don't tell me what you won't do. Let me tell you what you can't do.
You know we got the city on go mode. When you see us, I know photos. Girlfriend ass on whoa. And we stay down like 10 toes. And I'm still on high. Y'all niggas still on crock pot. Y'all niggas think y'all Tupac. Y'all niggas smoking that, oh, I'm young boy. Oh, I got the feeling, yeah. Oh, you and your feelings, yeah. Mama, we winning, yeah. Lord willing, yeah. I got the metro booming. Waiting for metro booming. Mask off, I see the future. JR and no shooters. All I know is that I don't know about you, but best believe you're leaving with the hope. All I know is that you're listening to the sounds of the incredible run, yeah. Best believe we leave, leaving with the hope. Saw a pretty girl from the Philadelphia and realized she was so fine. And she really got me feeling naughty, so I asked her what's her sign. She said a Scorpio and we could talk some more on the low, and then I replied, if you're feeling me like I'm feeling you, then let's take a little walk outside. I hate to trouble you, but the BMW's lonely on the ride home, rolling with my crew. But if you only knew what I wanna do, and now I got this Jones.
Fourth quarter action. Back with us. Man, do I wish that B-Ron was here so we could truthfully put those fours up on the 4th of July. But we're not going to do it. That is B-Ron's deal here. Mackenzie Mbako with a terrible turnover to start the fourth there. That is not how you get back in the game. So let's ask here, Siege. Mackenzie Mbako, 13 points a game. He's leading the team in scoring. He's hit the most threes on the team, shooting 48% from the field. He's number 9 in all of Seminole hoops. The three-pointers made. I know you have some feelings about this kid, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. Is he not getting enough credit? Truthfully, is still playing the Seminole hoops hurt his stock, or is it just a moment in time?
I think it's just a moment in time. I think anyone who knows the game of basketball knows that he is incredibly talented and knows that sometimes players just don't. It's not that he doesn't fit with Gotham. It's that he is. I don't know how to put this. Let's see. He is one of the most talented players in Simmer. If we're going purely off of talent, I mean, he, to me, is a top 10 player, talent-wise. I think sometimes we see him not step on the gas all game. Sometimes I think we see him get a little bit disengaged. Sometimes I think he could play better defense. But if he gets to a place with a coach and a team that can kind of ignite him and fire him up, I still think he can be an incredibly talented player on every level of basketball. But yes, I think it's just a moment in time. Does it hurt his stock a little bit? Maybe with some schools, but I think most of the big-time coaches and recruiters are still going to want this guy on their team because they believe they can unlock his full potential.
He did. Did he recant to Indiana, or is he still going to Indiana?
I believe at the moment he's still going to Indiana.
Some great ball movement here from Run DMV leads to another open bucket off the Malik Duffin pass there to Trey Trust, I believe that was in the corner. Now the biggest lead of the game for Run DMV now at 14. Gotham 5, time could be running out here. Where do they need to go offensively?
Somebody's got to step up, whether it be this guy, Aaron Lovejoy, who I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Aaron Lovejoy, honestly, is the guy I'm going to right now. I would get Keon Anthony back on the floor. There he is. Was wrong about that when he is out on the floor. Would like to see him get going. He hasn't had his normal game off the bench that we usually see from him. But really, I think the big thing is defensively. They got to start getting stops. Run DMV is playing a great offensive game. Everyone on the team has scored. Nick Hugo is leading them in scoring, which is not what we see usually. He's got 12 today. We're seeing a really great game from Ty Rocco. Ty Rocco has 10 points on 4 from 5 from the field, has played some great defense. They're getting great stuff out of him. And then you even got Keith Singleton with six points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. They got a lot of guys just kind of stuffing the stat sheet today. All around total team effort, as one of my good friends likes to call it. But yeah, I'm loving what I'm seeing from them. I think the big thing for Gotham 5, yes, someone has to get it rolling on offense, but they got to put together some consecutive stops on the defensive end.
Trust here with the ball. Good defense being played here. Block on Pinker. There's one stop. And they're going to have to do it one stop at a time here. So see
Nick Hugo and Mugen Williams both coming back into the game. Both pretty impactful players for their team, to say the least.
looking to be terribly aggressive. Lovejoy now at the top of the key, working on Malik Duffin. He's going to turn his back here and go to the fadeaway, which is a go-to shot for him. Does not go. Lead still stands at 10.
Well, Yells, you know how I feel about the fadeaway from the bigs, but I won't get into all that right now. Unless you're incredibly talented with the fadeaway, I don't really want to see you do it.
There's only 3 big men should be shooting a fadeaway in my eyes. That's Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Durant, and of course, the dream/nightmare, King Olajuwon. I guess we could throw Patrick Ewing in there too, but just not in the last 4 minutes of the game.
I'm all right with Jokic hitting a fadeaway.
Big finish by Megan Williams, and he mugs John Hudgens on the way down. Maybe that'll be enough to get this team going here.
That's the energy they need right now. They got the crowd hyped up. They're engaged. That's what they need right now. They need just exciting plays, not necessarily flashy. And there's another one with the steal. They're gonna get out and run with it.
Could not get the finish. Great finish. But the defensive intensity is there.
They are turning up defensive intensity, getting Mugen Williams back in the game. That's what I want to see.
Tough call there. Tough call there. And we have seen some teams have great success against Gotham 5 when they can pull their bigs out on the perimeter, as Run DMV has been able to do with John Hudgens and Malik Duffin. But look, Siege, we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back with more 4th of July action from SimWorld TV. Stay with us. We're back here with more 4th quarter action. Run DMV leading the way by 8, just as they did at halftime. Siege. Gotham 5 has turned up the defensive intensity here. Not a whole lot of Keon Anthony in this one. Not a whole lot of Majir Williams. Where is the offense going to come from, as we've seen them trying to get out in transition?
I mean, I think exactly that. The offense has to come from getting stops and running. Like getting stops, getting out running, filling your lanes correctly. Somebody makes the right pass and you get an easy layup. That's, I think, their best shot right now, because whenever Run DMV is able to get their defense set, they have been fantastic at keeping the ball in front of them and not letting them get any buckets. So I think that their best offense right now is going to need to be their defense.
Absolutely. Ball in McKenzie's hands. Pulls up. And I think that's, I'm going to be honest, for me, I think that's the part of the game where people get frustrated. 6'9", he has a beautiful shooting stroke, but I want to see him attack that rack more. I don't want to see him pull up for that. He should have finished that at the end.
I couldn't agree more. That's one thing that he's got to work on. And I think, like we said, he's got the talent. He's got to put it together. He's got to get a good staff around him that's going to kind of ignite him, kind of push him to play the way that's going to be best for him, and not be afraid of the name of Kenzie Mbako. Like, he's such a talented player, you almost don't want to tell him what to do.
Majir Williams there with the big-time finish, able to use his body to push off the bigger defender and get a bucket there. Brandon Smith with an excellent cut, and there's some great defense from Majir Williams, who sometimes get lost. He was a look at that pass from
what a dish.
Williams. unable to finish on Keon Anthony, but he's going to get 2 attempts in the line to possibly cut this to 6 with 3 minutes to go. Keon Anthony, man, 6'3", 165. He's only 15 years old, Siege. He has time to get to Carmelo Anthony's size, and I would dare say at 15 years old, we're not talking about the finished product of what Carmelo Anthony was, which I think is greatly unappreciated, that offensive game that he had. But Keon Anthony, we've seen some mixtapes, we've seen him here in similar hoops and what he's been able to do. I think that he has the potential to be an extremely scary pro prospect 3 to 4 years from now, because that's how far away he is.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. It's a lot of pressure on him. We know that it's a lot of pressure having your dad be a Hall of Fame player, arguably not arguably, a top 10 offensive player of all time. You could argue higher than that. I think Carmelo Anthony's offensive bag is one of the greatest in NBA history. I'm a huge Carmelo advocate. I think it's a shame he never got to win that ring, but I think it doesn't at all take away from the talent that he had. If Keon Anthony was to, like you said, fill out to a Carmelo size, we are going to have a very scary player on our hands.
Yeah. Hey, real quick note. I know you and I both like to look at these things. Came across something on social media showing what the kids may not remember, Carmelo Anthony dropping a 50-piece on all jump shots and free throws. There was not one single rack attack for him to get 50. That is absolute skill and a burner in the pocket for sure.
I mean, you don't see guys who can do that other than a Carmelo. The only other games that come to mind immediately when I think about it is, I don't remember how many he had, but Klay Thompson, that game, he put up so many buckets and took 11 dribbles all game, like something like that, you know?
Yeah, big time buckets. Well, look, while we're talking about talented players, Saturday Showcase voting is now open. If you have not yet casted your vote, you can still do so. Check it out in Discord under the rosters and stats section. Vote for the players you think that should be on the Saturday Showcase starting lineups, or just at least on the team. I do believe some news on who's leading certain sections and who some of the participants will be coming out soon, so be sure to be a part of that vote. Don't miss your chance. Be heard. Make yourself heard, guys. And then here we have it, player of the game. If things hold up as they are, Siege, who do you have for player of the game?
It's honestly really tough because, like we talked about, this has been a really total team effort for this Run DMV squad. I'm tempted to go with Nick Hugo because he's always impactful. He hasn't had his normal impact on the boards and defense, but still been impactful. But he is leading the team in scoring, which is impact. But I want to go with Ty Rocco. Ty Rocco has come out, been very efficient scoring, kind of added that spark, which in a lot of games they lose. They play good defense, but they can't find their way on offense. He has kind of come out, and a lot of the team has, but for me, Ty Rocco's impact tonight has been defensively, offensively great. But now that I've named 2 other players, Keith Singleton for me on defense has been great. I'm having a tough time choosing, but I'm going to go with the easy answer and go with Nick Hugo on this one.
Yeah, if it holds up, I'd have to go even easier and say, hey, man, sometimes you just give it to the team ball here. But look, we have an interesting tip here. We're only down 6 for Gotham. Mugen Williams against the jumping beam, Nick Hugo. And Gotham wins this tip. They could cut it down to 4, possibly 3. And that whole player of the game conversation could be changing here in just a moment. Rozier with the ball, working on Malik Duffin. He's going to kick out to an open. Mackenzie Mbako cannot get it down. Rebound, Malik Duffin.
And he started the game so hot, but it's kind of cooled off after that first quarter. And this could be a completely different game if we saw him stay as hot as he was in the first.
Big time bucket.
Nick Hugo.
I believe that was Trey Truss there from the elbow. Huge bucket on the contest. Did not wait on the shot clock. Showing some clutch there. And another big block from Brandon Smith. That's his 3rd block of the game, Siege.
He is looking fantastic. He's just a big guard. He's a big point guard. And it shows on defense.
You know who he reminds me of? Now I'm going to forget the young man's name. Just a few seasons ago in the NCAA Final March Madness tournament, there's a kid considered to be a great defender on the team, but he was getting it done offensively too. Oh, big time bucket.
Man, actually, John Hudgens hit the nice 3 on the other side. That's something I'd like to see him do more. You remember what team this player was on? I'm sure I could.
Oh my goodness, man! He went to the Magic. He went to the Magic. It was maybe 3 years ago. I can't remember, but Brandon Smith is the perfect comp. He's just a clutch player, offensively or defensively.
Jalen Suggs, by chance?
That's it. You nailed it.
Yeah. Jalen Suggs was unbelievable. He was unbelievable. It was unfortunate he hit that unbelievable timely shot for Gonzaga, but just did that was an unfortunate one. But
wow, what a finish! Maybe a little too late for Mackenzie Mbako to get aggressive here. As Gotham always has the chance here, but yeah, maybe a little too late. They're down 8.
Jalen Suggs comp, that's high praise. I love it. But
look at it. You see how he gets. He's got size. He's got strength. He gets to the bucket when he needs to. He will hit the clutch bucket, and what he will do is defend, all in a timely manner.
Yeah, Jalen Suggs is part of a young core for the Magic that I believe is potentially the best young core in the league.
Well, Gotham's not going to be happy with how they let this one slip away, barring a miracle on 4th of July, and I'm talking like Independence Day, the movie, Independence Day level miracle here. But Gotham 5 is going to see their 8-game win streak come to an end. They'll close this game at 16-8 as Run DMV will get back on the positive side of things and extend their win streak to 2, ending this with 15-9. Siege, it's been fun being here with you on 4th of July. I know you got to hop that flight. You got some big time business to do. But I appreciate being here with you. I appreciate everyone tuning in with us. The whole SimWorld team does. We hope you guys enjoy your 4th of July. Celebrate independence. Celebrate good food. Celebrate friends and family. And until next time, of course, see the game. Siege.
Be the game.